Hello, it is Thursday the 19th of October, and in this video I'm going to look at the most recent outcome on the lottery, draw 2277. I'm going to look at possible reasons why these numbers came out, and then I'm going to predict some numbers based on the same reasons. So first of all, this is what the chart looks like before the last draw for the current trend, which is machines, Guinevere and Lancelot, set of balls 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now this is where the winning numbers were. It's interesting how there is kind of a alignment between these numbers, all lined up perfectly. Well, 4 of them are lined up perfectly, and there seems to be something interesting about the shape of the chart before these numbers were drawn. But anyway, it was set of balls number 8, and if we look at the chart for set of balls number 8, you can see that 9 of the numbers 1 to 59 haven't been drawn yet, and out of those 9, 4 of them were drawn in the last draw. So 4 out of 9 in the last draw. Now if we look at the full draw history, oh hang on, first let me just show you, that's where the winning numbers were. Now if we look at the full draw history, okay, you can see that number 44 was the most overdue to occur with either Guinevere or Lancelot and set of balls number 8. And then 11 and 27, second and third most overdue, and there's 22 as well. So these numbers were mostly overdue, with set of balls number 8 going on the current trend. If we look at all sets of balls, I'll just have to flip that round. Now you can see there's the most overdue for its frequency, but then the second most overdue for its frequency on this chart is 44, and I've got 27 just there. Now if we look at all machines and just set of balls number 8, then you can see 22 was the most overdue for set of balls number 8, and also number 12, one of the 2 most frequent numbers, and it's also the most overdue out of those 2 most frequent numbers. So if we look at the chart for all machines and all sets of balls, this is where the winning numbers were on that chart. Okay, you can see that 11, 44 and 27 were all kind of at the overdue for the frequency side. So I've got 23 up there in the corner, that's the most overdue for its frequency. And then after that we've got 44 and 11, 27, some other numbers down there. Now if you look at the chart for 44, I'll have to just flip that upside down so I can see it. Right, if you look at the chart for 44, this is where the winning numbers were paired with 44. And notice again we've got this interesting alignment that seems to, the numbers seem to be in a line but getting closer together towards that top left on this chart, which is the more recent and more frequent end. Now if you look at the chart for numbers paired with 27, you can see 22, most overdue, the most frequent out of the two most overdue numbers. If you look at the chart for 12, you can see 22 overdue for its frequency to occur with number 12. Now if we narrow it down to the current trend, which is sets of balls 5 to 8, and machines Guinevere and Lancelot. Then on this chart you can see that 44 is the most overdue for its frequency. Now if we look at all machines and all sets of balls, and we look at the chart for 44 paired with 12, and then you can see on this chart number 15 is looking quite overdue for its frequency to occur with 44 and 12. And if we narrow that down to sets of balls 5, 6, 7 and 8, then it begins to look more like 22 is most overdue for its frequency to occur with 44 and 12. If we just narrow it down to Guinevere and Lancelot, then just looking at those two machines, and we'll look where the winning numbers were, and you can see 44 and 27 are the second and third most overdue for the frequency. And if we look at the chart for 44 and 27, and look at all machines and all sets of balls, and we'll look where the winning numbers were, you can see that they're all on the same line apart from 15. And what that means is that these numbers 11, 12, 22, 27 and 44, those 5 numbers have all occurred before in draw 1812. Now if we look at the average gap between occurrences, well, now that there's 59 numbers, the gap between occurrences is 142,000 draws. That's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. And this is draw 1812, and then now in draw 2277, they've occurred again, the same 5 numbers, which is that's very unusual, because it means that the same 5 numbers have occurred again after just how many draws? 1,000, less than 1,000, 400 draws or something. So it seems to me that there's like some kind of resonance between those numbers that makes them occur together more often. So anyway, now that these numbers have been drawn, I'm going to show you my little prediction for the next draw. Now as you can see, number 23 is overdue for its frequency, and if we narrow it down to the current trend, so we just look at Guinevere and Lancelot, you can see 23 very much overdue for its frequency. In fact, if we just look at the chart for 23, you can see number 40 is most overdue to occur with 23, and number 2 is most frequent with 23. So from an engineering point of view, I could say number 2 is most likely to occur because it's more frequent, but from a mathematics point of view, I could say number 40 is more likely to occur with 23 because it's a longer gap between occurrences, so it's more probable. So let's look at the chart for 2 and 23 together, and on that chart you can see number 40 is overdue for its frequency. And if we look at the chart for 40 and 23 together, you can see that number 2 is overdue for its frequency. So that means that these 3 numbers are pretty much due to occur together again quite soon. So 2, 23 and 40 Now if you put a 3-number hot pick on those 3 numbers, you can see they haven't occurred together since draw 1610, and they've actually occurred together 10 times. Yeah, so you can see there's 10 draws where they've come out together, and the last one was what, 500 draws ago, 600 draws ago or more, and they seem to occur like every 200 draws on average. So that combination of 3 seems to be overdue for its frequency. Now if we look at the chart for each of these numbers, and if we look at the recent draw history as well, see 54 occurs a lot with 23. If we look at, let's look at the current trend. Current trend is Guinevere and Lancelot. And if we look at the chart for 48 and 2 together, or maybe not that one, on the chart for 23, that's what that looks like. If we narrow it down even further, it looks like 28 is kind of frequent and overdue. If you look at the chart for 28, you can see 2, 23 overdue for the frequencies of 28 and also 16. But why 28? Well, because it's the most overdue with the current trend at the moment, and also 16 most overdue for its frequency. So maybe we should pick 28 and 16 to go with 23 and 2 and 40 but what numbers should go with those? Okay, so if we look at the chart for number 2, got the most frequent number, which is 23, and I also want to pick the most overdue number, which is 31. Now if we look at the chart for the other numbers, chart for number 40, there's 31 overdue for its frequency, and the chart for number 2, 31 is the most overdue, and the chart for 23, 31's there. If we look at 23 and 2 together, there's 31 again, and there's 16, and there's 40. So those are the numbers that I've picked for the next draw. Now, I'm not necessarily assuming that they're going to come out in the next draw. It might be a few draws from now, but I think that there'll be an alignment like there were last time. I think that it'll be these numbers. So that's my prediction for the next Lotto draw, and some of the reasons why the most recent numbers came out in draw 2277. So that concludes this video. Subscribe for the next one, and bye for now.